This is the story of a village that chose to die. Not from plague, not from war, but from a single terrible decision. This is the true story of Kuldhara. In the sun-scorched deserts of Rajasthan, India, stands a village frozen in time. Its name is Kuldhara. For nearly 200 years, no one has lived within its crumbling walls. But many believe the villagers never truly left. They say if you listen closely, you can still hear them. Our story begins not with ghosts, but with people. Kuldhara was once a prosperous and vibrant home. It was part of a cluster of 84 villages inhabited by the Paliwal Brahmins. These were not ordinary farmers. They were brilliant, resourceful people, known for their advanced knowledge of water conservation and agriculture. They turned the harsh desert into a green and thriving home. For generations, they lived in peace. They built strong houses, they raised families, and they worshipped their gods. Life was good, but that peace was about to be shattered. The year was around 1825. The ruler of the land was the powerful minister of Jaisalmer, a man named Salim Singh. He was known for his cruelty and his greed. He saw the wealth of the Paliwal Brahmins, and he wanted a piece of it. Salim Singh imposed unbearably heavy taxes on the villagers, but his cruelty did not stop there. He laid his eyes upon the most beautiful girl in Kuldhara. She was the daughter of the village chief. Salim Singh decided he would take her for himself. He gave the village an ultimatum. They had until the next morning to hand over the girl. If they refused, his soldiers would raid the village and take her by force. That night, the elders of all 84 villages gathered in a secret meeting. They faced an impossible choice. They could not fight the minister's army, but they would never surrender one of their own. They made a vow, a sacred and terrible pact. They would leave all of them. Every single man, woman, and child would vanish without a trace. They swore an eternal curse upon the land they loved. They declared that from that day forward, anyone who tried to live on their land, anyone who tried to claim it, would meet a terrible end. The village would remain empty forever. And then they were gone overnight. An entire population of over 500 people simply disappeared. When the minister's soldiers arrived the next morning, they found only silence. The houses were empty, the animals were gone, the streets were deserted. It was as if the earth had swallowed every soul. They left behind everything they could not carry: their homes, their temples, their belongings. They left behind their entire history. They vanished into the desert, and no one knows where they went. They were never seen or heard from again. For 2 centuries, Kuldhara has stood as a ghost. The walls have crumbled, the wind has worn away the carvings. But the curse, they say, remains. This is where the history ends, and the mystery begins. The Indian government has tried to develop Kuldhara. They wanted to turn it into a tourist spot, but every time workers tried to rebuild, strange things happened. Tools would go missing. Unexplained sounds would echo through the ruins. Workers reported feeling an invisible force pushing them. The projects were always abandoned. Locals will not go near the village after dark. They tell stories of hearing the faint sounds of crying women and children. They speak of shadowy figures moving between the broken houses. They believe the spirits of the Paliwal Brahmins still guard their home. Paranormal investigators have visited Kuldhara. They have taken photographs showing strange, unexplained lights and shadows. They have recorded electronic voice phenomena, or eebs. On these recordings, you can sometimes hear whispers. Sometimes it is a child's voice. Sometimes it is a mournful wail. One team set up equipment in the old chief's house. They asked questions into the empty air. Why are you still here? Later, when they listened to their recording, a clear, distinct voice answered, "We are protecting." Another voice, faint and desperate, seemed to say, "Help us." A journalist who spent a night there wrote of a sudden, freezing cold spot that moved through a room on a hot night. He felt an overwhelming sense of sadness and panic, forcing him to leave before sunrise. But is it real? Skeptics say the stories are just folklore. They say the wind sounds like voices in the ruins. They say the fear is all in the mind, fueled by the tragic legend. They argue there is no physical proof of a curse. However, the feeling of dread is undeniable. Visitors speak of a heavy, oppressive atmosphere. They talk about a feeling of being watched by 1,000 unseen eyes. The air itself feels thick with memory and sorrow. This is not a story of a single ghost. This is the story of a community spirit, a collective will so strong it imprinted itself on the very land